Hi everyone, Pam here from Pam's Crafty Corner. What are you at? I hope everyone's been keeping well. Today is Saturday, the 18th of November. I have no idea where the fall went. Autumn has just blown past me. I hope everyone is doing well, and if this is your first time coming to my channel, thanks for stopping by. And if you're a return viewer, thanks for putting up with the lack of videos. I'm going to do my best to continue to put up videos. Things have finally started to slow down a bit, and now that I have a major project or two out of my way, I feel like I can kind of take a breath now and get back into doing the things that I like to do, this being one of them. I do love sharing my projects with you guys. I do that still very frequently, almost daily, on my Instagram account. So if you haven't had the opportunity to check out my Instagram, please feel free to do so. Any links will be in the description box down below. And without further ado, let's start talking about some stitching and what I have been up to. Okay, so as most of you know, I was trying desperately to get that Elvis Presley piece, full coverage design, finished for my mom for her 75th birthday. And I did manage to finish it on goal. I finished it the 23rd, I think it was, or the 23rd or 24th of September. Her birthday was the 25th of September. But my sister and I were doing a party for her, and we didn't have the party scheduled until the 14th of October, like a couple of weeks later. So I didn't really post too much about finishing it online up until that point. So it was done. I managed to get it finished, washed, framed, and everything, and wrapped in time for her birthday party. I will insert some pictures of that. I don't think I have much in the way of video, unfortunately. I don't think my sister took any video of her opening it at the party, but I do have pictures of her opening it at the party, so I will include those as well. Okay, now that this guy is all finished, it's time for him to get a bath. Soapy water. So Elvis is now out of the bath, and we don't wring out cross-stitch pieces, we squeeze them. So I squeezed out all the water, then I rolled him in this big fluffy towel to squeeze out any excess water. And now I'm going to iron him face down on another fluffy towel. All right, he's face down, and here we go. Okay, so that's it. So Elvis has left the building. He is no longer here. Thank goodness he has finally flown the coop. So with that in mind, and with him out the door, I, of course, wanted to jump right back into stuff that had color and vibrancy and I wanted to play with all the things that have been in my stash that I haven't touched for quite some time. The very first thing I think I stitched after Elvis, if I go back and look at my little stitch journal here, my Midori. So when I finished Elvis, I did finish him on the 23rd of September. There he is, all done. The first thing I pulled out was the 18th Century Band Sampler by Long Dog Samplers. You can find this in the Gift of Stitching magazine. I believe it is from 2007. I have the full collection of those magazines. You can actually still purchase them online as a download, and you get every single issue. It was a digital magazine that was produced, and you can buy every single one of the back issues. It was released in that as a mystery band sampler back in the day, and for 4 months they released the pattern. So this is how much I have done on that. I am getting close to, I'm a little better than halfway done. Oh, all those pretty colors after spending all that time stitching with monochromatic grays, blacks, and purplies kind of colors for Elvis. So there you go. That's the 18th Century Band Sampler. I believe I finished off this band, this small band here, the border on that band. And I had this one started, but I think I did that center flower pot motif there with the butterflies. So yeah, so that's where this piece is. This has so much color, and they're not colors that I typically gravitate to when I'm stitching. So I was really, really happy to get back to that one because of the amount of color in it. It was just so fun to pull that out and work on it at the time. So now, do I take the time to put all this stuff away while I'm showing it to you? I'm so out of practice doing Flosstube videos. Okay, so there you go. That's the 18th Century Band Sampler. I will be getting back to that again before this year is over. Maybe. I'm going to say maybe, because the month of December, I am doing Flossmas. I've done that the last several years. Even during times that I wasn't doing regular videos, I did do Flossmas the last few years, and I have plans to continue to do that this year. The next thing I stitched after that, I worked on a couple of quilt blocks for my foundation paper piecing. I won't pull those out now. They're pretty much the same as other ones I did. I'm using the Courthouse Stairs paper blocks, and I only did a couple of those. I'm still dealing with tendonitis in my arm. I actually have tendonitis. It's like tennis elbow. So I have it in my forearm, but I also have it underneath my arm and up the back of my tricep, like at the back of my elbow. I put it down to kayaking with my sister because I didn't really do a lot of that over the summer. And I went out with her, I want to say it was mid-September. The weather was still really great, and her and I went out, but we were gone for a couple of hours in the kayaks or more. Like, we had a really, really nice paddle, and a couple of days after that, I noticed my arm bothering me, and then it had continued to get worse. I am going to physio. I started acupuncture, and I found that has actually really helped. So I'm doing that now once a week, just to kind of get me over the last little hurdle there with it. It's still not quite right. So I haven't done a whole lot of quilting. I did pull out my Jenny Bean Halloween sampler next. And that is an older chart as well. I started mine in 2021, and it had already been out for quite some time at that point. I will try inserting a picture of where it was the last time you saw it. And this is where it is now. So I have reached the bottom of the piece. This is where the bottom border goes. I finished off the house. And I started the border for the wording, and I've gotten a fair bit of that done since you saw it last. So that's that one. Yeah, I started it in 2021. There you go. I toyed with leaving this and putting the year I finished it in there, but because I put my name on it instead of Jenny Bean, I kind of was running out of space, and I didn't want to make this any longer to accommodate like a 3 or a 4, something like that. So yeah. So that's that one. This is on a, oh, I forgot to tell you, the 18th century band sampler, I think, is on a piece of 28 count that I'm stitching 2 over 2. This is on a piece of 28 count that I coffee tea dyed myself to get some of that modeling effect. It was white when it started out. And I am using the Call for Colors for the Long Dog sampler piece. I am not using the Call for Colors for this. This was charted to use sampler threads, and I'm actually using a DMC conversion. Like, I picked colors that would be similar, but ones that I liked. So I think there were a couple of that were different from, like, if you looked up a conversion. I didn't use the suggested conversion. I chose something else. So that's that one. The next one I worked on was I wanted to decide what full coverage piece I would use as my focus for the, for until it's done kind of thing. Because I tend to do that with my full coverage. I'll pick one that's a focus piece, and then all of my others just go in a rotation. And what I do is I'll stitch a week on my focus piece, and then a week on something else out of my whip pile. Then I'll go back for a week on my focus piece, and then go to something else on my whip pile. I've done that with the last couple full coverage designs that I was really interested in getting finished at a certain point in time, and it worked really well for me. So this time I've decided to pull out A Christmas Carol by HAED. This is a picture of what it's supposed to look like when it's done. I'll try and insert a picture of what it looked like the last time you saw it. I don't know if I'll be able to find one because it has been a while since I've pulled it out. Probably last Christmas, to be honest with you, during Flossmas. So, move my needle minder. I pulled this back out and got it on the Q-snap. I finished this page completely because there was... the clock wasn't finished. Some of the signage wasn't done. There were a few bits and pieces in amongst sprinkled that were not finished. So I finished that page. I then started working my way down because the page ended here. Started working my way down this page, and also there are some confetti stitches in this page next to it that were not finished. So I've been doing a few of these and working down here. Now, because it was so confetti heavy, I don't know why, but I thought it would be a good idea to go back to putting my threads in and parking. And that actually slows me down so much. I did some parking when I was working on Elvis, but I think that was because I was working from a paper chart. And it's too hard to see all the confetti, whereas when I'm working with Pattern Keeper, I can just pick the symbol and it shows me where all of those stitches are on the page, and it's faster and easier to just take a color and work with that color over the whole page until it's finished. So I did start parking, but then toward the end of the week, I said, this is nuts. I'm constantly rethreading my needle. I hate that. So now I'm working in these parked threads, and you can see I've gone out here and I've worked my way down with some of the colors in here. So that's what I'm going to do next week when I go back to this piece. I'm going to finish trying to work in these threads and get this cleaned up. And then I'll have nice fresh canvas to work on it. I much prefer stitching color by color. So like extreme, well, no, not extreme cross country. So cross country stitching per page. And as I complete a page, I'll move on to the next page. And to avoid page lines, I will feather into the next page. That alleviates that harsh tension line that you can sometimes get going from column to column or page to page. There you go. So that is A Christmas Carol. Love that one. What did I work on after that? Oh, I also had a new start. I forgot to say that, didn't I? Yeah. I started, I don't even see it marked in here. I don't know when I started it. Anyway, you know I did the Winchester Mystery Mansion, which was a piece designed by Debbie Patrick. I love her architectural designs. They are stunning. And so I decided to start the piece that she designed called Alamo Square. I'll put a picture of it in here so you can see what it's supposed to look like. Because I have the chart, I guess, in my stack here somewhere. I tend to photocopy my charts and use that as a working copy. So that's all I have in this bag that I've been taking from my working copies. I am doing this on 18 count Aida. You just fold this in a little bit so I can wrangle the fabric a little bit better. I'm doing this on 18 count Aida, and I started with the center blue house. The different colors that to create the shading and stuff, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Debbie Patrick is a genius when it comes to designing and cross stitch charts. And I think that comes from the fact that she is an actual like artist. So her paintings and her drawings, she uses a full range of color palette to really get just beautiful shading. And she has a lot of back stitching in her charts, which some people don't like the back stitching. I personally don't really enjoy back stitching, but I absolutely love the effect it provides on a piece. So that's my new start, Alamo Square row houses, which are in San Francisco. That's the other thing. All of her row houses, like all of her designs, are based on real houses, real pieces. That's that one. So that was a new start to treat myself after finishing Elvis. And I think that was all of the stitching I did in like that last week of September and for the month of October. The only other thing that I worked on, I started a sweater for my daughter. She wanted a sweater coat, for lack of a better term. And she showed me a picture of one that she found online. And it has like a solid colored front and back, and it has different color sleeves and pockets. And so I decided that I could make that for her. And I'm using just a worsted weight wool, acrylic wool that I got from Michael's. It's the Loops and Threads brand. Loops and Thread brand yarn. I don't even know what this colorway is. What is this called? Oh, it's a color number. not a color name, VS106. And I'm using the same stitch that I used for the Eva cardigan that I made for my aunt. It's basically a moss stitch, or sometimes it's called linen stitch. And here it is. This is the back panel of the sweater, or of the coat. I've got quite a bit done. And so it's fairly long. It's like a 3/4 length coat. And there's a close-up of the stitch pattern. So it's just a moss stitch. And I had someone on Instagram ask me for the pattern I'm using, and I don't really have a pattern per se, but it's very similar to the Eva cardigan. You can find a free copy of that pattern online. And so although I'm using the linen stitch, the moss stitch, I'm using a different weight yarn. It's much heavier, so I'm getting a really nice, thick, cushy fabric. I had to completely change the stitch count to customize it for my daughter, because the Eva cardigan pattern, that doesn't, the stitch counts and the instructions are for like small, medium, large, extra large, double XL, triple XL. I think like she has a huge range of sizes, but it's done in a much thinner yarn, and the calculations would be all off. So basically you do a back panel, 2 front panels, you seam those up the side, leaving a hole for your arm. You stitch the arm, and it's stitched flat in a V shape, add the cuff on the bottom, and then you sew up the arm and sew the arms to the front and back, and Bob's your uncle. That pattern also has just a straight couple rows of collar on it. This one, I'm going to do a similar collar, but I want to put an actual like, you know, like a jacket collar on this piece. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. I have to work out in my head how I'm going to do that. So that is all of my crafting for the last month and a half or so. I hope that everyone has had a good autumn. Or if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, you had a good fall. And I hope you're doing well. I hope your crafting is going well. I am going to continue to do some stitching. I won't show you any of the stitching I've done now for November. I'll wait and show you that in a couple weeks. I have had my pandemic sampler out by Long Dog Samplers. I've had that one out. I have had the Whale by Owl Forest Embroidery out. I also am finishing off my Eva cardigan. I actually finished it, but I don't have it here with me at the moment. So I will save that and show that one to you on my next video. So yeah, so thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening to me ramble about my cross-stitch projects and adventures. I will be back in 2 weeks to finish out November and show you what I managed to accomplish this month. I have a new coffee crime and craft video that I will be uploading on Friday coming. And I am doing Flossmas this year, so that's my upcoming plans. You'll see a video from me before the end of November with my regular Flosstube update. And then as of December 1st, I will be starting my my Flossmas videos. So there will be a video a day, every day in the month of December leading up to Christmas. And we'll see how I feel when I hit Christmas. I might go till December 31st. However, previous years, I typically have finished by Christmas Day, Boxing Day. So I hope you had a good autumn, and we will see you again soon. Take care.